The movie begins on a quiet summer night in 1992 when a young girl named Rebecca suddenly wakes up after hearing a strange, echoing sound coming from outside her house. A sound that seems to call her toward the backyard pool, like something alive is waiting for her beneath the water. And as curiosity takes over her fear, she slowly walks to the window and notices a small toy boat floating alone in the dark. Still water, a toy that actually belongs to her sick brother Tommy, and thinking she has found something important, she rushes to tell him, but he is too weak to even respond, leaving Rebecca to make a decision that will change everything forever as she quietly steps outside into the cold night air and approaches the pool. As Rebecca stands at the edge of the pool, the water looks unnaturally dark and silent, almost like it's hiding something beneath its surface. And using a small net, she tries to retrieve the toy boat, but instead of coming closer, it slowly sinks deeper into the water as if being pulled by something unseen. And despite a growing sense of fear, she leans forward, reaching with her hand, when suddenly an invisible force grabs her from below and violently drags her into the pool, causing her to panic and struggle desperately for air, her small body fighting against something far stronger than her. And for a brief moment, she manages to escape and reach the surface again, gasping in terror. Just as Rebecca tries to process what just happened, she hears her mother calling her name from behind, urging her to get out of the water, and feeling relieved, she turns toward the voice only to realize that no one is actually there, leaving her confused and terrified. But before she can escape, she sees the toy boat floating again as if nothing ever happened. And against her better judgment, she reaches for it one last time, only for that same dark force to pull her under again, this time without mercy. And within seconds, she vanishes completely beneath the surface, never to be seen again, marking the beginning of a terrifying mystery that will haunt this house for years. Years later, a new family known as the Wallers arrives, searching for a fresh start, with Ray, a former professional baseball player whose career was destroyed by a devastating illness, his wife Eve, and their children Izzy and Elliot. All hoping to rebuild their lives, and after struggling to find a home within their budget, they come across a surprisingly large and affordable house with a backyard pool that immediately captures Ray's attention, even though something about it feels slightly off. And as they explore the property, Ray discovers an old baseball near the pool, triggering memories of his past. But before he can reflect further, he suddenly slips and nearly gets pulled under the tarp covering the pool, barely escaping with his life. Despite this frightening incident, the family's situation pushes them toward taking the risk, especially after Ray receives devastating news from his doctor that his condition has worsened into multiple sclerosis, effectively ending any hope of returning to his career. But when the doctors suggest swimming as a form of therapy, Ray begins to see the pool not as a danger, but as a miracle waiting to happen, convincing Eve that this house could actually help him recover. And soon enough, they move in, unaware that they are stepping directly into a nightmare that has already claimed lives before them. As they begin settling into their new home, strange occurrences quickly start to unfold, beginning with Elliot injuring his hand while cleaning the pool drain, followed by dark, murky water leaking out in a way that makes everyone uneasy. Yet when professional cleaners arrive, they reveal something shocking, explaining that this is no ordinary pool, but a rare natural one connected to an underground water source that somehow purifies itself, making it seem almost magical. And after cleaning it thoroughly, the family finally steps into the water together, experiencing a brief moment of peace while Ray feels something extraordinary happening within his body. For the first time in a long while, Ray feels strong again, his pain fading as the water seems to restore him in ways that defy logic, giving him hope that his life might not be over after all. But while he embraces this miracle, subtle signs of danger begin to appear around them, including Eve noticing strange figures near the pool, flickering lights, and the family's cat behaving as if it senses something sinister lurking beneath the surface, creating an unsettling atmosphere that continues to grow stronger with each passing night. That night, the mystery deepens when the cat disappears, leaving behind only its collar floating in the pool, while at the same time, Ray discovers that his injuries have mysteriously healed overnight, reinforcing his belief that the pool is a blessing rather than a curse, even as the rest of the family begins to feel increasingly uncomfortable, especially Elliot, who starts experiencing terrifying encounters with a voice coming from the depths of the water, a voice belonging to Rebecca, the girl who vanished years ago. Elliot's encounter with Rebecca becomes more intense as she tries to lure him deeper into the pool by offering to return his lost toy, guiding him toward a dark opening where something horrifying awaits. And just as he reaches out, a decayed hand suddenly grabs him, forcing him to escape in pure terror. But when he tells his parents, his story is dismissed as imagination, pushing Eve into doubt while Ray becomes even more obsessed with the pool's healing powers, creating a dangerous divide within the family. As Ray's strength continues to return in unnatural ways, even allowing him to perform incredible feats like hitting a perfect home run despite his condition, the family begins to realize that something is terribly wrong. especially when Izzy has her own horrifying encounter in the pool, coming face to face with a monstrous entity that tries to drag her underwater, confirming that the danger is very real, even as Ray refuses to accept it, choosing instead to believe in the miracle he so desperately needs. During a pool party meant to bring normalcy back into their lives, everything takes a terrifying turn when a dark force emerges from the water and possesses Ray, causing him to unknowingly try to drown a child named Ty while holding him underwater. And although the boy is saved just in time, the incident leaves everyone shaken, exposing the truth that the pool is not just dangerous, but capable of controlling people, turning them into instruments of something far more sinister. If you were in this situation, would you trust the pool that's healing you, or would you run before it's too late? Let me know what you would do, because at this point, the Waller family is completely divided, with Eve desperately trying to escape while Ray refuses to leave, convinced that the pool is the only thing keeping him alive, even as the consequences become more terrifying and unavoidable with each passing moment. Determined to uncover the truth, Eve begins investigating the house's history and eventually meets the previous owner, who reveals a horrifying secret about an ancient wishing source connected to the pool, a supernatural force that grants desires but demands a life in return, explaining that Rebecca's disappearance was not an accident but a sacrifice made to save someone else, confirming that the pool operates on a deadly balance that can never be escaped once activated. As Eve processes this terrifying revelation, the situation spirals further out of control when the entity begins fully taking over Ray, manipulating him and binding him to the pool's will, while strange events intensify throughout the house, including objects moving on their own and voices calling out from the water, all leading to a terrifying moment when Elliot is lured back to the pool and violently dragged inside, disappearing beneath the surface as the nightmare reaches its peak. With no time left to think, Eve makes a desperate decision and dives into the pool to save her son, entering a dark, hidden passage beneath the water where she discovers a horrifying realm filled with trapped souls, all victims of the same curse, struggling to escape as they attempt to pull her down with them, creating a chaotic and suffocating battle for survival as she searches for Elliot in the depths of the supernatural prison. Meanwhile, above the surface, Izzy faces her own nightmare as her father, now completely possessed, hunts her through the house, declaring that Elliot has been chosen as the next sacrifice, forcing her to fight for her life while everything around her collapses into chaos. And despite her fear, she refuses to give up, holding on to the hope that her family can still survive this terrifying ordeal. Deep within the water, Eve finally finds Elliot unconscious and manages to free him. But their escape is blocked by countless spirits trying to stop them, until Rebecca's spirit appears and guides them towards safety, allowing them to reach the surface just in time, where Eve desperately tries to revive her son, refusing to let the pool claim another life as the final confrontation begins. As Ray, still under the entity's control, attacks Eve, Izzy intervenes with a baseball bat, striking him repeatedly until he briefly regains control of himself, creating a fleeting moment of clarity where he realizes the truth, that the only way to stop the curse and save his family is to make the ultimate sacrifice, a realization that shatters everything but also gives him a final chance to protect the people he loves. With no other options left and the dark force already pulling Elliot back toward the pool, Ray makes the most heartbreaking decision of all, apologizing to his family as tears fill his eyes before slowly walking toward the water and jumping in willingly, allowing the entity to take him instead, as dark shadows rise and consume him completely, ending the cycle in that moment and finally releasing his family from the curse, leaving Eve, Izzy, and Elliot standing in silence, overwhelmed by the loss but alive because of his sacrifice, a moment that carries both relief and unbearable pain as they realize what it truly cost to escape. In the aftermath, the family chooses not to run from what happened, but to make sure no one else ever falls victim to the same horror, deciding to destroy the pool completely by draining it and sealing it beneath layers of dirt, cutting off the connection to the cursed source forever. And as they walk away from the house to start a new life, the memory of what happened lingers, a chilling reminder of the price that was paid. And if you enjoyed this intense recap, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another epic story like this. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments and check out more videos on the channel for even more thrilling movie recaps.